It's April 4th. Colorado State University has put out their official hurricane forecast for the 2025 season. Here's everything you need to know about it. I'm meteorologist Serena Arnold, a degreed meteorologist and also author of The Hurricane Story. The experts at Colorado State University, who have been doing this for over 40 years, are expecting the 25 season to be slightly above average. The main reasons are the warmer than normal Atlantic waters, which is very prone for hurricane development. And also we're going to be in a La neutral phase, not La Nina, not El Nino. And that neutral phase is not going to be hindering any storm development. Now, anytime an above average year is forecast, hands down the most popular comment I get is, they say that every year. So let's go look at the data and also see how accurate they are. I have a bunch of charts for you that look like this, and I'm going to quickly orient you. The blue line is going to be Colorado State's forecast. The orange line is what actually happened, and the red is the average, but not for the entire time because we're going to be going back some long time on some of these. This is going to be the 1991 to 2020 average. So let's look at how accurate Colorado State University has been with forecasting named storms, hurricanes, and major hurricanes for almost the past 40 years. Average number of named storms is right around 14, but in 1983 we saw a minimum of 4. That's just off the chart here, and in 2020 we had a maximum of 30. So they're having to pick a number between 4 and 30. And you can see they're doing it with pretty good accuracy, only seeing 2 outliers, 2005 and 2020. Those years, a lot more storms happened than were actually forecast. 2005 was a La Nada year, as was 2020, and the impact that would have on the storms was underestimated. Remember that La Nina events, those cooler sea surface temperatures, actually decrease the amount of wind shear we see over the Atlantic, which increases hurricane activity, where El Nino years, where you have those warmer Pacific sea surface temperatures, actually cause too much wind shear and drastically reduce the amount of hurricanes we see any season in the Atlantic. Colorado State also updates their forecast. They originally put out in April. They do another in June and another in August. So here's the color scale we're going with, the blue, the April, and we're going to slightly turn more purple as we go through their updated, with the orange being the observed. And I just want you to see, once again, how things are trending really, really well. And on these 2 outlier years, they knew and were able to revise their forecasts every time, indicating more storms were going to happen than originally thought in April. Also note that any years that fall under this red line, we forecast less than average storms. So certainly not saying that every year is forecast to be the worst. Now that was just for named storms. Now let's look at things that are actually hurricanes, where winds reach that 74 miles per hour or greater threshold. So once again, seeing the orange is what actually happened. The blue is what was forecast, the red line being the average. So about 7 per year, but that number can range anywhere between 2 that we had in 2013 and the 15 we had in 2005. Once again, showing 2005 and 2020 were 2 major outlier years, but otherwise, this looks pretty good. And once again, showing how this forecast evolved with these 2 outlier years, them revising the forecast upwards every time in the right direction. So we've looked at all named storms. We've looked at hurricanes, category 1 through 5. Now let's look at major hurricanes, which are category 3, 4, or 5. We get an average of 3.2 per year. In 2013, there were none. And in 2005 and 2020, there were 7. So once again, seeing the accuracy for most of these years here trending really well, considering that number can be anywhere between 0 and 7, and checking out that revised forecast accuracy. So Colorado State forecasting 17 named storms. Remember that if we look at the past 43-year history, this number can fall anywhere between 4 and 30. It's going to be just slightly higher than average. Looking at 9 forecast hurricanes, once again, that number can range in the past 43 years between 2 and 15, with an average being 7.2, so just a little above. And major hurricanes forecasting 4, averages 3, and as we've seen in the past 43 years, that number can range from 0 to 7. There's a lot of additional info here like storm days and ACE and all that. If you want me to get into it, I can do a separate post on it. Looking into the future is hard. Take a look at your March Madness bracket and let's see how you did. Being able to tell what hurricane season is going to be generally like 2 months before it even begins is a skill. And as you can see, it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn accurate. Now is the time to start thinking about what are you going to do if all of a sudden you find that hurricane landfall is imminent in your location. Stock up on the non-perishables and the things that you'll use anyway after hurricane season ends. Bottled water, food, like flashlights and batteries. Think about that kind of stuff now. Because 3 days before this makes landfall, all your resources are going away. The shelves at the grocery store empty. The gas stations run out. Go get that 5-gallon jug now and keep it somewhere safe. And that's assuming you get 3 days notice. With all of the cuts that are happening to NOAA and how we are losing a tremendous amount of data and resources, we may not be able to give you as good of a heads up anymore as we did in the past. Compile that with trade wars and tariffs and all this other stuff going on. Are you going to be able to get what you need at the last minute? No one's asking you to panic. No one's asking you to do anything crazy. Just remember that chance favors the prepared. And think of your evacuation plan now. Don't forget, evacuation does not mean vacation. Take the time now to figure out what the elevation is where you live. And so that way you know when storm surge forecasts come in, how far inland do you need to move in order to get to a safer elevation? For a vast majority of you, you just need to drive inland like 1 or 2 miles to get to a more survivable location. No hotels, no airfare. It's hunker down in your car in an upper floor of a parking garage for a day. So make sure you follow to get more hurricane information. Go find my book, The Hurricane Story, if you want to make sure that you're prepared and make sure your kids understand what this season may bring.